guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be doing a video basically all about my theory test and my driving. So I did my theory test on the 10th of August, which was the day after my birthday, and it was quite early in the day. It was 8 AM, so I'm pretty sure that's the first one you could have got, maybe, I'm not too sure. But anyway, I'm just going to go through how I passed that first time, and I'm going to give you some tips and stuff like that. I'm also going to talk about my experience with it, and then I'll probably talk about a bit about my lessons. A lot of people have a similar age to me who watch my channel, so I just thought this might be useful for some of you if you haven't done your theory yet, or if you haven't started your lessons yet, stuff like that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and let's get into it. So first start off by telling you what I got in the actual test. On the multi-choice question section, there's 50 questions, and you need 43 out of 50 to pass. And I got 50 out of 50 on that. And then on the hazard perception, there's 75 marks, and you need 44 to pass, and I got 59. So on the hazard perception, there's 14 clips which are CGI, and you've got to watch all 14 clips. And whenever you see a developing hazard, such as I don't know, a pedestrian crossing a road who haven't stopped and stuff like that, or a car reversing into a main road, or a car speeding, or anything like that basically, you click, and if it causes you to slow down or stop or change direction, that's what a hazard is. So you basically click and a flag will show up at the bottom of the screen, so you can see when it registers you click. But basically you don't want to click too many times, because if you do, it will say you've responded in an unacceptable manner, and then you'll get 0 for that clip. So it's out of 75 because each clip you can score a maximum of 5 points, and 2 of the clips has 2 hazards. The clip that had 2 hazards for me was my 8th one. The actual theory test, I'll just explain how it went and what I did and stuff like that. So I got to the test centre about 20 minutes early. It does recommend to be at least 15 minutes early, so I went in 20 minutes early, and where I had to go, it was on the 5th floor. So I just went up the lift because I didn't want to go upstairs, because I don't know why, I'm lazy apparently. So I went up the lift, I got to floor 5, and then the first thing they ask you to do is put your provisional licence in a shay, because you couldn't give them it straight to them because they don't want to touch it, because you know corona. You will have to wear a mask. You put your provisional licence in the shay, and then after that you get given a locker key, and you put your stuff in the locker, like your phone. I also put my cardigan on because she said that you couldn't take it off when you was in the test room, and I was already quite warm, and I had a long sleeve top on, so I was like, I might as well take my cardigan off. And then I had to pull my sleeves up to make sure that there wasn't anything on me. They don't even do that for GCSEs or A-levels, but I had to put my sleeves up to show her that I didn't have anything on, and then I also had to show her behind my ears to show that obviously I wasn't cheating or anything, which is fine because I wasn't, obviously. And then when I went into the room, I got told to go to a desk 5, I think it was. So I think I was the first one in, but when I left there was one other person in the room, because obviously it was quite early, so it wasn't a very busy time to be doing it. So I was the first one in, and basically you can choose to do a practice test thing before you actually start the multi-choice questions. The questions are random, I believe, so they're nothing to do with driving, they're just to try and get you used to how to answer them and try and maybe calm you down a bit. I was so nervous, especially for the hazard perception, because I didn't think I thought I would pass, but I thought if I didn't pass it would be due to hazard perception, because that's the bit I was most worried about. So while I was answering the multi-choice questions, I had my hand on the mouse, and this finger was shaking so much, it was literally I can't really show you how it was because I didn't control it last time, but it was shaking so much. So yeah, that was fun. We love that for me. But anyway, I chose not to do the practice things at the start just because I wanted to get on with the test, basically, because I don't know why. Originally I thought, because I knew there would be this practice bit, because I'd watched Eve Bennett's video about how the theory test was, just so I knew what to expect, and she said that she answered the practice things, but I just left it. I went straight on to the multi-choice section, and then I answered the questions. Obviously I went through them 3 times, I think. No, actually I went through them 2 times, and the questions I flagged I went through 3 times. So basically, if you're unsure about a question, you can answer it, but you can also press the flag button, and that means at the end of the test you can review all your flag questions. So it just means that instead of going off through all 50 questions, you can find the ones that you flagged, because them ones, if you're not sure about it, it means you can go over them again and try figure out if the answer is correct or not. So I would recommend using that if you're unsure about a question, because it just makes it easier when you come to the end of the test and you're trying to find which question it was. I use the Theory 4-in-1 app mainly for my revision. This costs $4.99, but it's definitely worth it because it's the main resource I use to do my theory revision. If you've seen some of my days in my lives and stuff like that, you would have seen I've been using the apps and doing lots of like mock tests and stuff. I do also have a theory book that I got bought, and I've been using that. I read through it once, the whole book, but I've been reading it, well, I got it in March, but I've been reading it on and off since then, but I didn't really read it that much. And personally, I think the app is a lot better. I will get the book in a minute. I was meant to bring it here before I started filming, but I forgot it, but I will show you which book it is, don't worry. But it just depends on how you learn. If you like a book to learn, the information has got like quite a lot to learn and process in one go, or like however many times you read it, because obviously you won't read the whole book in one go, but you know what I mean. But basically the app, it's got 80 hazard perception clips, and then you can also do a hazard perception mock test, which has the 14 clips, so that's like how it would be in the actual test. And this is really good because online you can only get like three clips. Also, I did find one free hazard perception like full mock test that was 14 clips, so if I find that I will try link it down below, because there was one which was free, and I personally think that's good because basically I was trying to find free ones online because the app is on my phone, but obviously in the actual exam you have it on your laptop or the computer, but I wanted to do it on my laptop because obviously that's bigger, so it should be easier, and also it means it's more representative. So instead of doing it on my small phone screen, I wanted to have it go on my laptop. So I did do a couple of tests on there, which is good because it got me more used to it, and I can tell you it's a lot easier on the computer than your phone. So because it's just bigger and it's clearer. This app, it also has like 730 theory questions. So you should, basically what I did is I answered all these questions, but there's different sections. There's like alertness, motorway rules, other road users and stuff like that. There's loads of different sections that you need to know and learn about. So basically I did a section at a time, so I think alertness, it has 26 questions. It's a bit sad that I've remembered that, but that's only because it's the first section. I don't remember how much all the other stuff had. So basically I would do a section at a time. Maybe I would do a couple of sections at a time because I started revising. I would say I started properly revising about kind of the start of July, from like, I think it's the 10th of July, maybe a couple of days earlier I started revising, but at that point I didn't know when my theory test would be, so I started revising properly for a month before, but I had been doing like reading a bit through the theory book, but that I started properly revising then because that's when I got the app, and I was doing quite a lot each day. Like I was probably doing an hour or a bit more each day, so that's what I call proper revision, because when I was doing my book I was maybe I read a chapter and then I wouldn't look at it for like another month or whatever, because I just didn't, obviously I got it really early and I didn't know when I was doing my test and stuff like that. Yeah, this app is really good. It's got 730 questions like I just said. I would say about 45 of the questions on the theory test is from the app. They might be worded slightly different or they might be worded exactly the same, but if you study all them 730 questions you should easily pass the theory part, like the question part of the test. Like one of the questions in my theory test, this is just an example, is saying like a horse rider was on the left hand lane of the roundabout, about to go on the roundabout, and it said in which direction would you expect them to go in, and I said in any direction because that was worded exactly the same as it was on the app. So I would highly recommend going through all them questions, and also do a lot of mock tests on the app, because you can do a mock test and there's 50 questions and you get 57 minutes to do it, so you've got plenty of time. It took me probably about 25 minutes to go through and answer all the questions. when I did it on the app, it normally took me about 5-6 minutes to answer 50 questions, and I was getting 50 or 49. But I really wanted to make sure that I'd read everything properly, because I know when you worried, you can make stupid mistakes. So I really didn't want to rush it. I just wanted to take my time. The app also does have the section all on road signs. There's literally hundreds on the app, but all of them, they're not all in the highway code. So there's like a duck one about toads, and there's those are random ones that you do not need to know for the test because they're not in the highway code. So I would bear that in mind when you're using the app. You do not need to know all of them, but a lot of them, like obviously no through road, T-junctions, pedestrian crossings, pedestrians on the road, stuff like that, speed limits, you're going to have to know all of them. I think there's about maybe 120 that you need to know that's in the highway code, so you should need to know them because you could be asked about them. And it's also got a section about the highway code. I went through the pages in the app once about the highway code just because I wouldn't say you need to read the highway code, but because there's about a few questions on your theory test you could be asked about that you haven't seen in the bank of questions, I would advise you to maybe read through it once. It didn't take me as long as I thought because there's quite a lot of pages in the app. I don't know how many, so that's not very useful, but there's maybe over 100, I'm not sure. So I would advise you to read that once, just so you know how to answer the other questions, and it also makes your driving lessons easier. Like my instructor's been asking me questions that I only know from my theory, so yeah, that's useful. So you need to maybe read through that. Well, you don't need to, but I would advise to read through that once. I wouldn't say it's overly important if you don't, so don't worry about it. If you're doing like last minute revision for your theory test it's tomorrow, don't bother reading through it because it's just going to waste time. Just go through the questions and try to revise them. So now I'm going to talk about the hazard perception part of the test. So each clip is about a minute, and then between each clip you get a 10-second break. So as I said before, there's 14 clips which are CGI. You just need to click when you see a hazard. I would recommend clicking maybe 2 or 3 times per hazard, because sometimes what was happening in my practice tests on my phone is that I was clicking too early. So I recognised hazard before like the time, where the marking system started. So I was clicking like a second before the marking started. So if I clicked a second later, I would have got 5 out of 5. So I definitely, So I would definitely advise to click 2 or 3 times. I think there's a lot of videos which advises that as well. So it's called the 2 or 3 click method, depending on how. Some people say 2, some people say 3. Personally, I went for 3 just because I want to be on the safe side. Also, between the theory questions, the multi-choice section, and it has a perception, you can take a 3-minute break if you choose to. I did take this break. After the break, if you choose to take the 3-minute break, you don't have to take it if you don't want. If you want to get straight onto the hazard perception, you need to put the headphones on. They show you an introduction video that explains what hazard perception is, what a hazard is, when to click. So basically, I think it's about 1.5 minutes, maybe 2-minute clip. And I had already watched this on YouTube previously. I think it's from the DVSA. So that's on YouTube if you want to watch it. I'll link it down below if I remember. But they show you that clip, so make sure you wear your the headphones for that, which are just on the side. That was quite useful because it just re-jogged my memory. I didn't realise that they showed you that video because I watched some of these videos before where people have explained like what it was like. I know the ones that I watched didn't mention that, so I don't know if it's a new thing or what. Oh my god, I keep going back from the different sections because I keep missing bits out. I should have really wrote these things down just to plan. Basically, obviously theory tests were off for a few months because of lockdown, but in April of this year they was meant to change the last 4 questions of the theory test. Basically, you have a case study to read, which is probably like, it's not very long, maybe, I don't know, it's like 3 paragraphs I think, well it was on mine, but they were very short paragraphs, so maybe 6 sentences say, and it's basically a scenario that you've got to read, and then the last 4 questions are about that case study. Yeah, I didn't know what to expect though, because from April they was meant to show you a video that you watched, and then you was meant to answer the last 4 questions about the video that you just watched. Like, Similar to the hazard perception, like you're watching a video, but obviously you don't click, you just watch it and answer the questions. And this video you can watch as many times as you wanted. I kind of forgot what I was saying because someone came in, so I had to finish recording. But I basically think I said that about the video, because obviously I wasn't sure if I was having this one because it was meant to come in from April, but because of lockdown I didn't know if it would be on when I had my test. So I was a bit unsure about this, but when I did my test it wasn't, like, they didn't use the video. I mean, it might change since when you do your theory test, but I personally thought it would be easier just to read it. But anyway, back onto the hazard perception. Like I said, my score was 59 out of 75. On the double hazard clip, which was the 8th clip for me, I scored 8. On 4 clips I scored 5. On 5 clips I scored 4. On 3 clips I scored 3. And on 1 clip I scored 2. So I don't know which clip I scored 2 on, but obviously that wasn't very good, but I must have noticed it late or something. I couldn't tell you which one it was. My tips for the hazard perception clip test is obviously do a lot of practice, because that's going to help you. And also, before the clip starts, you can see the background of where it starts. So you can see if it's on a motorway, if it's night, if it's rainy, that means your stopping distance will increase. Like, look at the conditions, because you get a 10-second break, but in that time you can see the picture of where the clip's going to start, if that makes sense, behind like the thing where it says many seconds are left. So use that to your advantage. Try plan ahead of what the hazard could be. Like, for example, use road signs as well, because they are really helpful. So I saw a road sign for cattle, and then literally 2 seconds later there was those cows coming across the road and a man was walking across with them. So use the road signs to your advantage, because if you see a road sign, you should be expecting them within soonish. I don't know what else I've got to say. To be honest, I think that's all I've got to say for the actual theory test. I've gone through everything that I think is relevant. I'm going to talk about my driving lessons now and how they've been going. So I don't know if I mentioned this on here, but I think I have on one of my days in the live. But basically, I'm doing a 40-hour intensive course. Intensive. I'm saying that because normally they can be over a week or 2, but where you literally have 6 hours of driving a day. Mine's over a few weeks. I've currently done 1 week of it, and I've done 8.5 hours. This week I'm not having any because my mum's got the week of work, and also he's gone on holiday, so I won't be having any lessons even if my mum was off work. So I will resume next Monday. I've had 4 lessons. 3 were 2 hours and 1 was an hour and a half. No, it wasn't. It was 2 hours and a half. And if you watched my birthday haul, you would have known that I got a car for my birthday. So basically, I've been doing a lot of practice in my car. I'd say I've probably done maybe about 10 hours of driving in my car since my birthday, which was a week and a half ago now. So yesterday I actually went on the ring road, which was really busy, and I didn't know I was going on the ring road, so that was fun, kind of last minute thing. Well, John knew, but he decided not to tell me, so I didn't panic. So honestly, I love that for me. But anyway, I went on the ring road. I would say I handled it quite well. I changed into the right hand lane, so obviously I had to indicate and wait for it to, like, no cars to be there. But honestly, it didn't go too bad. My general driving is getting better. Like, I've definitely seen improvements, which is good because that's what you want to see. Okay, obviously there's a lot of things that I still haven't covered because I've still got a lot of hours of driving left. Like, there's all the manoeuvres that I haven't done. There's like parking on the right. Obviously I know how to park on the left because that's one of the first things you do, moving off and stopping. But there's reverse parallel parking, there's reverse bay parking, stuff like that, which I haven't done yet. And then obviously I've not covered roundabouts. I have been on roundabouts, like when I've been driving in my car, but I've not covered them with my instructor. The next thing we're going to be doing is traffic lights and also pedestrian crossings. So that's what I'm doing on my next lesson. And then I've still got stuff like crossroads, and basically what I'm trying to say is I've got quite a few things left. I have done moving off and stopping, turning left at T-junctions, like emerging and approaching left, emerging and approaching right, and other stuff I have done. Like the cockpit drill and the controls and everything like that, the basic stuff basically. I have been filming for 35 minutes. I did not expect this video to take that long, and I haven't even shown you my theory book yet. So I am going to get my theory book to show you, because I did mention it and I did say I would show you. This is the book I was talking about. It's the AA Theory Test, Practical Test and Highway Code book. So this is useful for your practical test, but obviously I haven't read through that section yet because I'm not really doing my practical test yet, but it's got everything you'll need to know. It's got loads of practice questions as well, and not all of them multi choice. There's literally loads of questions in here. So yeah, there's all the different sections. Oh god, that's really washed out. All the different sections, there's loads of questions for you to answer, and there's a highway code. It gives you all the different rules and things you need to know. So yeah, this is quite useful. I did read it through it once, but I don't know, it was a bit boring and I didn't enjoy reading through it. A few people on Snapchat and stuff have asked me what I used to revise, because I posted my results on my story, and I keep telling them Theory 4 in 1 app. I think that 4 people's asked me. So, because obviously a lot of people, like I said, are similar to my age that I have on Snapchat, because obviously they're my year group, if that makes sense. Also, one last thing I want to say. I'm not going to tell you what to do, obviously, but I'm just going to say, when you apply for your provisional licence, if you've not done it yet, because I've had a lot of people ask me about this. Well, not a lot. A few people on Snapchat who know me personally. But basically, a lot of people's provisional licence hasn't applied. I can't speak, why can I not speak? A lot of people's provisional licence has not arrived. And basically, I applied for my provisional licence, I think it was on the 1st of July to be precise. So I ordered it on a Wednesday and it came literally 3 days later on the Saturday. And basically, I think I know why this is, because I ticked the box to say that they could use my passport picture, but a lot of people chose to send pictures in. So I know a few people who literally been waiting 10 weeks and it still hasn't arrived because they sent a picture in. So bear that in mind. So if your birthday's in a couple of weeks and you want to start driving lessons straight after your birthday, just bear in mind that if you send a picture in, it will take a lot longer. So I just edited this video and I forgot to mention something that I wanted to mention. So basically, in the description box, I'm going to link some useful driving YouTube channels such as DGN Driving School and stuff like that, and Get Driving, because they have videos such as mock tests. They have driving lessons. Like DGN Driving School, it's done a whole series of driving lessons with Taz, so I've been watching them because they're very informative. And also I've been watching videos before, so I'll watch the videos on the topic before that lesson. So say if I was doing approaching an immersion left, I would watch a video on that before I have my lessons, just to make me a bit more prepared. So I'm just going to link a few channels in the description box to hopefully help you out. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.